This is the Skyler Jarvis Show! Yeah!
What is up, everybody? This is the Skyler Jarvis Show. I'm your host, Skyler. And in today's episode, we are going to be talking about something that was posted by one of our favorite console developers, PlayStation. They announced that in January of 2028 that they were going to be discontinuing physical games. They were not going to be producing any more games on disc. Now, games that have already been produced on discs, they were going to be fine. But as far as new games from January 2028 on, there were going to be no physical copies made. Now, to talk about this subject, I brought my good friend Nuris Coronado.
Hey everyone, happy to be here.
Because I think Nuris has a little something to say, being a physical disc fanatic like me. And this is something we have both been talking about for the past few days, honestly. And, you know, we wanted to do a podcast that wasn't going to just be biased. Oh yeah, we like physical games, and like ignoring all the other statistics involved. So, you know, I was able to find shout out to RGT85. He's, I've been watching his videos on it, and that's how I've been kind of keeping up with it. But in one of the videos, he actually shows a chart. He looks up a chart of how many first-party PlayStation games are released on digital, how many copies are sold on digital compared to physical. And I think there was only one game that the digital outsold the physical game. And Nuris, what are your thoughts? I want to get your thoughts on this first.
Honestly, like, from my thoughts is, physical disc matters to me more than something that's digital, because for when you have a physical disc, the product is yours, versus if it's a digital copy, anybody can take that down, and then there the game goes and you lose it.
All they have to do is update the game's terms of service, and then instead of giving it like 4 or 5 years, they can just say, "Oh, well, we're gonna give it a year," or
Exactly.
they can take it off, and you're basically, with the digital purchase, you're basically just paying for a license for a game. And
Exactly.
we looked into that, and like I said, we didn't want to be biased because me and Nuris are fanboys of the physical disc, whether it be physical CDs, physical games, vinyl, movies, DVDs, VHS tapes. I mean, the whole kit and caboodle.
Yep, exactly.
We enjoy collecting stuff. It's not just a matter of, oh well, you can get it on digital. Why get it physically if you can just get it digital and have it on there? The reason is, as Nuris rightly said, you're just paying for a license with the digital version.
Where with a disc, you're paying for everything and it's yours completely. None of this, oh, well, I'm going to lose it if someone takes it down or anything like that.
Also, another thing to bring up is, selling, giving it to a friend. You can give a physical copy of a game to a friend. And I remember when the PlayStation 4, I don't remember when it came out, but I watched a documentary about it in 2020, or 2021. That was when I got the PlayStation 4 for myself. But one of the things that really stuck out to me is the fact that they still pushed physical games. They allowed you to sell, if you wanted to sell it to a friend or, sell it at retail, you could do that and not have to constantly authenticate online before you did that. That was one of the huge selling points of the PlayStation 4. And now to see this, and also there's been rumors that the PlayStation 6 is going to cost like $1,200 or like somewhere in the $1,000 price point range.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of money for somebody to spend.
Especially people that, just want to get a PlayStation. They don't have a lot of money. They want a base PlayStation 6. So they, and I find this kind of ironic considering a decade ago, in 2013 Xbox, they weren't exactly, cutting off physical games, but they were doing something similar where, you had to authenticate. If you didn't authenticate in 24 hours, your game data might not be saved properly. It won't download to your console. And they got into some serious hot water over that situation.
Oh, yeah.
And, that was one of the things that made people gravitate towards the PlayStation 4 compared to the Xbox One for that generation. And I look at that now and I'm like, y'all are doing the same thing y'all advocated for. Y'all are turning around and saying, we don't care about that anymore. We don't care about ownership of video games. We want to be this multi-billion-dollar corporation, which they already are. They're multi-billion-dollar selling. Sony has got money out the wazoo. And it's just a way for them to make more profit. They want to make more money. It's like they don't care anymore.
Right, and let's not forget to mention that this company is getting feedback from their customers, and they don't care to listen to them.
Right.
They're not paying any attention.
What are some of your thoughts on that, Noodies?
Honestly, like if you're gonna be a company like that, pay attention to what your customers like, because you could also lose customers by even that. People are already mad and canceling their PlayStation Plus accounts, me being one of them, who canceled it because of all that's going on.
For people like me and Nuris, we didn't do it as, oh yeah, well, we're mad, we're doing, we did it to send a message like, hey, this is what your customer's saying. You have got to start listening to your customers. If you want to continue in this market, you need to start listening to what your customers say, or you're going to be known as that unreliable company who just milks the fans dry. Like everybody that got a PlayStation, or they want them to dump money into their console. And that's what companies do, but on the other side of the token, you have got to obviously think about what feedback you're getting and what you need to improve.
And I know this is a video game topic or whatever, but I remember, like, I've been big on this ever since the 90s or 80s, back when there were cassette tapes or whatever,
Oh, yeah.
And CD players, the ones that didn't have a speaker, because nowadays, they have that.
You can get some cool CD players nowadays.
Yeah, but I've been really big into this, and for someone that's coming from that era, it's like, man, this is big for me, like, being somebody that still collects CDs or tapes or whatever it is,
DVDs, Blu-ray.
I care about all that stuff, and I'm not gonna stop caring about physical media just because somebody said, "Oh well," or a company said, "Well, we're not gonna support it anymore." You know, I'll
Exactly.
keep pushing for it.
And I think PlayStation fans should push back against this because, you know, if the company gets enough pushback, they're obviously going to want to walk that back. But truthfully, I don't know what PlayStation's going to do. You know, it seems to me like they just don't care anymore. I mean, every day something else comes out about it. I've been following this thing for like 2 or 3, 4 days, and it's progressively getting worse. I don't know what else to say. It's progressively getting worse.
It's not looking good for them, let's
I
just
mean,
say that.
it's seeing as they didn't even let the people know, the people who manufacture the disc might even be getting laid off because of this.
Exactly. Like, you're not just affecting the customers, you're affecting the
Employees.
people that made the games and the whole 9 yards.
And people who produce the discs,
Exactly.
and they're gonna try to put them on to working on different, other things apart from disc. But I don't know if that's gonna work out, to be honest with you.
Honestly, I don't see digital lasting like that too much. Like, for people to just want to accept digital, I don't see that happening that much, because there's people out there that still say, "Hey, I want my physical media items."
Right. And there's plenty of people that also, that do buy digital games. I do buy digital games. But I also like to have a disc. Especially if it's a game that I really care about, I really want to have that thing on digital. On physical,
Right.
on physical
like
disc.
something like The Last of Us.
Something like The
we would
Last
both
of Us.
Want that on physical.
Or GTA 6. That's another one. Like, there's
Yeah.
been rumors going around that the physical disc isn't gonna have the actual disc. It's just gonna have a download code. I don't know. Rockstar is notoriously vague, very vague when it comes to announcements of GTA 6. Like, they don't really say much. Even when we got the pre-orders, there was no trailer. There was no, big boom like I said, a trailer, a big marketing
Right.
campaign, and I think that's going to start ramping up at some point. Especially since they've announced the pre-orders.
Right.
But I think people are going to want a physical copy. If this game is as special as I think it's going to be, because I know Rockstar, pretty much every Rockstar game for me, has this timeless quality to it. Even going to Red Dead Redemption and the second game, GTA 4, 5, San Andreas, Vice City, like they all encapsulate a certain point in time for me, and I don't think GTA 6 is going to be any different. Call me a fanboy, I don't care, but especially if the game is going to be a really special game, people are going to want to get it on physical. They're going to want to own the actual game on the disc.
Yeah, they're not going to want a code. They want the physical CD, not a code or any of that.
Right.
Like, what's the point of buying a physical copy if you don't have the disc for
If you
it?
just have a physical disc box with no game, that's just
Exactly.
ridiculous. If I'm being honest with you, like, there are also rumors that Rockstar might release it a little bit after the game comes out, and I can see that happening. I don't know, man. I guess we'll just have to wait until November, until this thing actually comes out, and then see.
Yeah, then see what happens.
But until the physical, I did pre-order GTA 6. Yes, So I'm definitely excited enough to want to play this thing on release day. And that goes back, there's people that still, buy digital games, but they also want to have a physical game. If a game is so important in somebody's gameplay experiences, then they're going to want to keep it on a physical disc instead of having to rely on the digital and then possibly risk that game getting took down or licenses expiring, and then there you go, you can't play.
You're stuck without the game.
You are stuck without the game, and you have no physical backup.
And this is one reason too why I buy physical copies of game, because like I said, if it gets taken down, you have no other source.
And go ahead.
Unless you buy a physical copy, then you do have the source there at your hand.
It's just like CDs, for example. Like CDs, when you get a CD or a vinyl record or a cassette tape, you have that album recorded on that.
By your favorite artist.
On that record.
CD.
And, just like with, the PlayStation Store or Xbox Marketplace, any digital storefront that can take games, movies, music down. 2020, we saw a big thing for that as far as, when people started freaking out about this whole woke bull crap.
Oh, yeah.
Whenever people started freaking out about Pepe Le Pew and SpongeBob got hit pretty hard. There were certain episodes of SpongeBob that were taken down over stupid reasons, really. And with the physical disc, you have all that. There is no one day waking up and deciding, hey, this episode's no longer going to be available. Or this.
Like the only way that would happen is if you lost the copy. But other than that, you have it there at your hands, at your disposal for any time, any day you want to hear it or play a game or whatever. It's there.
Or like we said, listening to CDs.
Right.
I still collect physical CDs. I'm a CD fanatic, and a lot of people. When you're a CD fanatic in this day and age, there's two groups of people. The first group is people that like CDs, but they just consider it like a passing trend or like a nostalgia phase or something like that. Or you get the people that are just like, well, why get a CD when I can listen to it on Amazon Music or Spotify or Apple Music?
Oh, yeah, YouTube. That's happened to me with certain people. They've said that to me. I'm like, look, why do I get a CD? Because I want to have the copy I like at my disposal. I don't want to deal with something where, we're going to delete your music. Because that happened to me once. I bought something on Apple Music and it got deleted.
Oh, yeah.
And now they don't have that up there. So
luckily, if you get something off of iTunes, you can still access it even though it's been taken down. You have to go to your hidden purchases or whatever to do that. But Apple is one of those places where if a music album gets taken down, you can still access it if you've bought it off iTunes.
That's good.
But other companies do not allow that. Like, if you buy it and they take it down, you have nothing to show for.
Exactly.
It's like, with the whole Google Play Music, you used to be able to buy albums off the Google Play Store and then play it in Apple or Google Play Music. And then in 2020, when Google Play Music got discontinued, you were able to move all your stuff to YouTube Music, but there was no like iTunes kind of. There was no iTunes level buying an album and having it in your library kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? So it just, that just proves our point again that digital, if you buy something on digital, it's not always going to be there. But if you have something on CD...
You can wake up one day and it'll be like, oh, it's gone. I don't have it anymore. But physically, you'll be able to keep that completely.
And be able to store and rip it. iTunes still allows you to rip CDs. You can always rip CDs to MP3s. And have it that way. But, there's our point again. Not only with games, digital games, but digital music, movies, entertainment in general. I think a lot of this digital stuff is skewed because some of this stuff only comes out for digital. There's no physical copies, especially like games that get released. There's some games that only get put out on digital, or certain albums that you can only get on digital, or stream or get an MP3 of. But with physical,
you always have it at your disposal.
You always have that. But also, I think the amount of stuff that gets released just for digital gets looked at as the total amount that's getting sold out of games as a whole, or music or movies as a whole. Like certain movies are only available on Netflix or Hulu or Apple TV. You can't get them on physical media, and that gets counted in with with the stuff that actually does get sold physically. And most of the time, whenever something gets sold physically versus digitally, a lot of the physical media tends to outsell the digital versions. Not in all cases, we're not saying that this is...
But in most cases.
Most cases, this is how it's happening. CDs are making a big comeback in 2025, 2026. And honestly...
As well as the vinyls are.
We hope this continues. We hope this isn't just a passing trend and then CDs are going to be considered dead 10 years later. You know what I'm saying?
Right, because I will be disappointed.
I think we all.
That happens.
I think we all will.
Yep.
Especially me and you, because we're both fanboys of collecting CDs. Like, I have 3 albums that came out this year on CD. I have J. Cole's The Fall Off, Boards of Canada's Inferno, and Sublime's Until the Sun Explodes. So, the 3 albums that are honestly in my album of the year list as of right now. I don't know if there's going to be any more that come out that might top that, but I don't think there will be. But who knows? But
yeah.
I have all 3 of those albums on CD.
Exactly. And then, of course I have, one of the Lecrae albums I like, and
the Reconstruction.
One Selena album that's on its way, which I know she passed away a long time ago, but I still collect her stuff. And
oh yeah.
I collect other good CDs out there. I'm a big oldies fan, so that's sometimes what I collect.
And you have a right to like, a lot of people consider me an old soul in a new body, so I'm right there along. I'm right along with you.
Right.
I agree with you 100%. You shouldn't have to be a certain age to be able to hear oldies music. Like, I still listen to stuff that my mama and papa introduced me to.
people like, the oldies artists, like, I know Andy Griffith was an actor, but he was also a singer, and he had a gospel album I really like, so I play that as well, and, a bunch of other cool music I enjoy.
Oh, yeah.
And I agree with you. You don't have to be a certain age to hear music. You could be any age and enjoy it.
You could be a fan, I'm a Zoomer. I'm Generation Z, what they call Generation Z. People that were born in between 1997 and 2013. So I'm, a lot of people my age aren't really interested. Like, there are some people, that I'm not saying this for every Gen Z person, but, there are some people that just don't listen to anything older than 2010. And I'm like, y'all guys are missing out.
Yeah, they are.
And then there's some people like me.
Music back then.
There are some people like me that are Gen Z that love stuff from now and love stuff from the 90s and the 2000s. For me, I'm a huge 90s and noughties fan. Like, I love 90s and the 2000s. And 60s and 70s too, man. That was,
Yep, I'm the same way.
I'd say from the 50s to the 2000s.
Yep.
Was like,
that's me.
That was the best stretch of music. Like, the best 50 years in music. I'm being honest.
I agree.
So, going back to what we said about physical games, and, we do realize that it is not the 90s and the 2000s. This is the 2020s. And physical media isn't as widely purchased as it once was. But, what I've been hearing a lot of people on the internet say, they just want to have the option. They want to be able to have that option to buy the physical game or movie or music that they want to buy. They don't want to completely rely on digital storefronts or, iTunes all the time, or Spotify, Amazon Music, Tidal. They don't want to have to rely on these streaming platforms,
right,
and these digital storefronts to be able to consume what, the content that they want. They want to have the option to have it actually physically
in their hands, in their house, and be
right.
able to use it,
Right.
So if the PlayStation company's listening to us out there, or people that work there, at least give people the option of having physical copies of games.
Exactly. Listen to your customers. Don't treat them like you just don't care. That is not the way to do especially loyal customers that's been buying physical discs off of you since the 90s. So that is the point we are trying to make in this podcast. Nuris, before we hang this thing up, is there anything you want to say?
And being someone that comes out and that comes from that era of the PS2 where physical discs were around, for me, that's very important to have a physical copy.
Oh,
and, I just want to say, at least give your customers the option and actually show them you care about them.
It's classic PlayStation right there. Yeah, I agree with you.
Not just go by what you guys want, but ask yourselves, okay, well, what do the customers want from us?
Don't pay attention to just the shareholders. Pay attention to the fans.
Right.
Nordies has basically seen you guys develop, seen it in the 90s and the 2000s, PlayStation 2.
I mean, I go way back from all the way to PlayStation 1 when discs were around. So.
Oh, yeah. Those two consoles are classic PlayStation. Like, you think about PlayStation, you think about either the PlayStation 1, 2, or 4 or 5.
Yep.
Sometimes even 3, but that's kind of the lower ranked one. But 1, 2, and 4 and 5 particularly.
Those are the classic ones we all remember.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I
really did
think we've definitely proved a point here, and hopefully someone will listen to this podcast and give some feedback somewhere.
Oh yeah. Definitely if there's any I don't know if there will be, but if there is anybody listening that works at PlayStation or is associated with PlayStation, please hear us out. We're not trying to We're not
trying to down the company.
We're not trying to down the company and say this company is crap. We're saying this as genuine PlayStation fans that love the consoles that you bring out, and we most certainly will be getting a PlayStation 6 when they come out. We'll save if we have to save up and get it, we're gonna get it.
Yeah, we sure will, because I'm interested in that.
That's just we're placed. We love PlayStation, being nerds both. So if you're out there listening, please hear what we're trying to say and what your fan base is trying to say, because I've been noticing a lot. Most of the comments that are on your Facebook now are bring back physical discs. Bring back physical discs. This game would go good with a physical disc.
Exactly.
And you can hear the outcry. So don't bury your head in the sand and ignore us. Hear us out and please walk it back. Walk it back. Just like you did with the PlayStation 3 and the Vita store closing down. Do the same thing for us physical media heads. Please. So without further ado, this is Skyler Jarvis and Noris Coronado signing off. Peace!
This is the